Okay, this question is about the difference between 2.4 and 5 gigahertz frequencies, Wi-Fi wireless frequencies, how strong they are, how far they can reach. So what I'm going to cover is some of the devices that use both of those frequencies, 2.4 and 5 gigahertz, the range and just how effective or how strong they are the farther you get away from them. So first, let's talk about some of the devices that use them. We have two of them right behind my head right here. This is a Google display device. It uses both 2.4 and 5. Above me here, that dude, Starlink, because we live in the country and I don't have access to fiber. God, I wish I did though. But anyway, the point is, both of those guys use 2.4 and 5. Also, we've got a bunch of devices around here. That's why we had to get a decent connection, because we have like 30 plus devices on the internet. We also have out here this guy. Ding dong. Someone's at the front door.
Someone's at the front door doorbell too.
Ring Google doorbell. It uses both 2.4 and 5. We have a whole bunch of stuff. We've got printer. We've got Wemos for the lights. The point is, we've got a buttload of stuff. Now, how far does it reach? How does it work? Okay, so if you're going to follow me through my house, I have a pretty decent sized house. So I'm going to, oh look, somebody was at the front door. Okay, here's our router. Okay, that's our Starlink router that provides our initial punch of Wi-Fi in this house. Now, let's walk through the house. And you'll see just how far that goes. Kind of give you a general idea. So, it's way back over there. Right there. That's the Starlink. So, we're walking through here. And we're going to go in this other room where we have more devices. We have more devices in here that are also wireless. So, TV. And then over here, we have another Google. And there's a variety of stuff around the house. But the point is, I'm walking all the way to this completely different room. And in here, in this closet, ignore the wiring mess, but there used to be another access point right there, but we got a better Starlink box, basically gave a stronger signal. So now we have a switch, a little Netgear box, and you'll notice there's wires coming out of the wall. It's because we don't need an access point in here anymore, because the 2.4 off of that Starlink goes far enough through the house. So now, and don't worry, we'll get into specifics on just exactly how far it reaches and what the particulars are of it and all that jazz in a minute. I'm just showing you the layout I have so you get an idea of what I'm talking about. Now we're going to go upstairs. And up here on the second floor, way away from that Starlink, I have that guy. It serves as an access point for us. Out of this wall right here, that cable runs down to the switch that we just saw downstairs, and the switch is connected to that Starlink router. So now, how far does all this actually run? So I was going to show you a Wi-Fi analyzer that I have on my phone, but for some reason, it's just not working today. It doesn't want to play well. So the point of it is, 5 gigahertz signal is approximately 50 feet indoors. It can be further outdoors, but that depends on your obstacles. Such as in this house, we've got walls, we've got insulation, we've got lights, we got all sorts of stuff going on. If you're at 2.4 gigahertz, if you're outside, straight line of sight with nothing in your way, you're getting about 300 feet out of it. You're going to get signal loss just because of the distance, but if you're inside the house, it's about 150 feet. But once again, that depends on your amount of obstacles you have between you. Now, if you have both of them, 5 gigahertz and you have 2.4 gigahertz, and you're within the 50 feet of 5 gigahertz, and there's nothing between you, straight open shot, 5 gigahertz is faster. It has a bigger pipeline, if you will. It allows more addresses as opposed to just 1 through 11. It's a lot more than that, so you can fit more devices on it, and in general it's just faster. Now we'll say this. 2.4 gigahertz is still fine. It works great for voice. It works great for data. It works great for streaming. It's fine. The limitations is how many people you can have on it at a time. And then if you have, let's say you're at a school, okay? You're at an elementary school, for example, and you got kindergarten through 5th grade. That's 6 grade levels, okay? Plus you got staff and you got faculty. If all those kids, like today's connected environment, have Chromebooks and they're all online at the same time using those Chromebooks because you've got something big happening, but your school only uses 2.4 gigahertz access points. I don't know why you would, but you do. Some of those kids may not be able to connect, and you're going to have LOS, loss of signal, because the access points just can't keep up on that 2.4. So at the end of the day, if you can, go with 5 gigahertz. It's faster, and it allows more people to connect to it. So there you go. And one last thing before I forget. When we look at 2.4 gigahertz, that channel only, that range, that frequency only has channels 1 through 11. And we've got, what is that? I think it's B, G, and N, B, G, and N. And once we got into N, that gave us, well, B and G are 20 megahertz, and when we get to N, that gives us 40 megahertz, which is great. It gives more a range of things that can access that frequency, but the problem is it's crowded. It's very, very crowded. And so, as I discussed earlier, whenever you've got walls in the way, that can slow down or degrade the signal. It's not only that, but you also get interferences from other devices like baby monitors or microwaves or cameras. A whole slew of different things can really clog up the pipe, and when you've only got 11 channels to choose from on the frequency. So that's something to consider also if you've got a choice. Do I go for 2.4 or do I go over to 5? Which one is it that I want to do? And so that's a concern with that. Now, when you get into 5 gigahertz, that's a completely different animal, because you don't have just the 20 and 40 megahertz range. You've got 20, 40, and I believe it's 80. And where with 2.4, you had channels 1 through 11. And also that varies by the country. Different countries have different things. So I think in Europe, there's 12. Or United States, there's 1 through 11. That's 2.4. When you get to 5, I believe in the United States, you get 25 channels to choose from. But when you go from the megahertz, that changes from 20, 40 to 80. You get a lot of different things. A lot of different devices can operate in that 5 gigahertz frequency, because now you have a lot of different channels to choose from and a lot of different ranges to choose from. So it's not quite as crowded. So as I mentioned earlier, whenever I was using the example of if you've got a elementary school and you got K through 5 and you got 6th grade levels and everybody has a laptop and or Chromebook and are trying to do different things. If you've got that 5 gigahertz frequency out there, more people can get on it. It's not as less crowded, and you've got 20, 40, and 80. And not everybody is using the 2.4 gigahertz B and G and N standards. Now we're up to AC and further. So not only do you get faster speeds just from your device, from your Chromebook or whatever it is that you're using, but you've also got better equipment that are using the better technology. So at the end of the day, go with 5 gigahertz if you can. I keep coming up with ideas for this. I think earlier I mentioned that 5 gigahertz had a range of 50 feet. That was 50 meters. I misspoke. Should be like 150 feet. But anyway, another reason that you want to use 5 gigahertz frequency if you can, as opposed to 2.4, is let's say you are a business, okay, and you're in a strip mall, and there's 10 restaurants around you, some Foot Lockers, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on, but you would like to provide your customers with Wi-Fi, so when they come in they can get online and such. If you use 5 gigahertz, it's a shorter distance. It doesn't broadcast all the way across the street, okay? You're more likely to keep the 5 gigahertz frequency inside of your building or your restaurant or whatever you own, as opposed to, let's say, I've been in one restaurant, and Sport Clips is really bad for this. They will have a haircutting salon. Sport Clips is where you get your haircut, and they'll provide Wi-Fi, but it's great. But they're using a 2.4 gigahertz frequency, and the reason I know that is because I can sit in the parking lot way away from them, and I can still access their network, line of sight. So if I'm sitting in the parking lot, Sports Clips is using 2.4 gigahertz frequency. I'm way in the back of the parking lot, and I'm on their network. So if you use 5 gigahertz, and let's say you own Sport Clips, for example, I'm not going to be able to reach your network and the parking lot as far, because it doesn't reach as far. It doesn't have the distance. So I guess my point is, if you ever open a restaurant or any kind of business in a mall or a strip center, or lots of other businesses are, use the 5 gigahertz frequency, if for anything, just because it has a shorter reach. And the only people that can access, more likely, the only people that can access your network are going to be the people who are closer to your building or inside of your business, and not sitting across the parking lot. So something else I thought of.